You're listening to the Coventry Sphinx podcast. You can follow the fortunes of our football club on Twitter, where we're at Coventry Sphinx or at coventrysphinx.co.uk. If you like the show, please take a moment to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a rating or a review. For more podcasts from Sphinx Football, visit sphinxfootball.com.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Coventry Sphinx podcast with me, Chris Nee, and Shaun Thomas and John Woodward, the first team managers at our club. This is a podcast about a football club from one Saturday to the next and everything in between. This week's episode is slightly shorter because our first league fixture against Selston had to be postponed. The previous opponent of Selston's had a positive coronavirus test, which I suspect is going to see off quite a few matches this season. So when I sat down with Shaun and John, we only had one game to look back over where there should have been two. Fortunately, there's plenty to shout about. On September 12th, Sphinx faced Coleshill Town in the preliminary round of the FA Cup. We know them well. John spent some time there, and before they went up to Step 4, they were in our division. And we played them in pre-season too, so they won't have been surprised that Sphinx had enough to take them all the way. After a goalless draw, goalkeeper Tom Cross again saved 2 penalties, and Sphinx again won 4-3 to progress to the first qualifying round. We talk about that game, and have a quick look ahead to the next two. On Tuesday, September 15th, we're away at AFC Wolverinians in the league, which is a trip I always enjoy. And on Saturday, September the 19th, we play our FA Vars first qualifying round tie at home against Worcester Raiders. But we recorded right after the cup win, so that's where we start this week's conversation with Shaun Thomas and John Woodward.
We are in the clubhouse after an FA Cup preliminary round win against Coleshill Town, which is a big result for us, John.
Massive. A league higher. You'd have settled for that before the game. They were a good side. So, yeah, absolutely over the moon. We've
benefited so far. It's our first 2 games have both been in the FA Cup, both draws, both penalty shootout wins. So we've benefited quite a lot from the lack of replays this season. Would you have fancied going into either of these 2 games with a reverse tie as well?
I suppose so. You just go with the rules that they put in, I guess. So, yeah, Romulus, you'd have been happy to get them back to our place. And today, I suppose we'd have gone to their place. But, yeah, it's cutting down on fixtures, isn't it? That we all know the rules before the ball is kicked.
Is it too unfair from the outside looking in to say that in both games, probably the best of the chances fell to the opposition? Not lots of them, but there were some.
Yeah, without a doubt. Both sides have had better opportunities. You know, we've had a few half chances as well, but yes, we've defended gallantly, I'd have to say. A little bit disappointed from Cam to be told that, you know, we purposely played for penalties. That is not the case in my mind. We played 3-5-2 with a young 18-year-old lad up top. So I think we've been quite brave, really. You know, we could have been open to, you know, a good hammering, really.
I think that's a really unfair assessment, Shaun, because when Mo Billy turns his man on halfway and looks to get away, and when Ashanti Price goes through, we're definitely trying to make things happen there. And either we're not able to get the ball under control, not quite getting the chance, or in the case of the first half, Mo getting away, he was fouled. So if we're going to have players brought down when we are trying to get forward, then obviously the chances are going to be difficult to come by.
Definitely. I think the first half I thought it was really even. I thought you go in at half time and actually you think that you're on top. You've weathered a little bit of a storm. They come out quite quickly at us, and you know what? We're a new group of we're a settled group, but we're a new group of lads, and they're still backing each other up to the hilt. So you're going in at half time and you think, you know, this is here for the taking. Credit to Coleshill, they come out second half. They were on top for large parts of it. I think you could say that they missed a couple of gilt-edged chances, but what our lads are doing, they're developing a really strong bond, and they're certainly working really hard for each other. They're giving themselves an opportunity to win a game in the penalty shootout, and they're nervy situations, and what our boys have done is handled that pressure really, really well when it comes to it, and we didn't change the formation. We kept going for it. I just think that in the second half, Coleshill played pretty well. It seemed like the wind picked up. We struggled to get out at times, and football's all about taking your chances, and unfortunately for Coleshill, they didn't take their chances, but I thought, when you get to penalties, you know, I'll just speak before we come on air, we were saying that you get to 80, you're thinking you could quite easily make a defensive substitution there. We had Jamie on the bench, but we didn't. We stuck at it and we just thought, you know what, let's see how the game pans out. And that's, again, a brave decision. You won't go your way all the time, but when you get to penalties, they've been spot on. There's a real togetherness. They're all next door now. So I definitely thought that we're in the game. It's not like by fluke that we're getting through these games, by design, and I think they've worked with great desire, and long may it continue.
We've been able to praise the overall defensive effort of the team over the last couple of rounds, and we've done so. But I think probably I've slightly unfairly skirted over the actual defenders. So we've got more or less a new unit in there. Patson's played for us before, but either side of him in that defence, we've had Andre's played today, and we've got James Bryson, who's coming new to the club over the summer. And they've come in 2 tough games and helped us to a couple of clean sheets.
Yeah, when Liam Kay doesn't play, we ask them, can you step up to the mantle, rise to the occasion? Because when Liam's there, he organises brilliantly. When he's not there, do worry a little bit and say to them, you've got to organise, you've got to rise to the occasion, organising. To be fair, they've been brilliant. James Bryson was outstanding today.
Yep, I agree. I think probably I've got to pick a man of match at some point soon, and I'm going to talk to everybody else because I don't like committing to it on my own, because I have to talk to you two and to some of the players as well. And if I get it wrong, I'll get no end of abuse. So I'm glad that we're leaning in the same sort of direction.
And Crossy, obviously, I think he's kept us in it, hasn't he? With 2 point-blank saves.
I think the game benefits when we can keep our first choice 11 on the pitch for longer than 10 minutes. So we lost Loz to injury quite early on. How much of an impact does that have on your overall game plan as a 90-minute approach?
I suppose that the ideal understudy was Charlie to come on. He's stereotyped right back, if you like. So he was probably the next best choice. So we tried to keep the same formation, really.
I suppose you didn't make lots of substitutions after that anyway, so it obviously wasn't in the plan to make 3 set changes.
No, we always had the mindset of if we did go a goal behind, it would be probably go 3-4-3 and chuck on a extra forward with a midfielder probably sacrificing. That was always, as soon as we went a goal down, if we went a goal down, that would be straight away 3-4-3, just go for it.
So the substitution that was made second half was Colin Smith come on for Mo Billy.
Yeah.
So Mo, I thought, had an excellent first half.
Tremendous, yeah.
Did himself plenty of favours, I think. But we've got real options up there. And having someone come through our youth side to be a genuine first-team option is a real benefit to the club.
We've watched Mo in the youth games, and he's now outgrown the youth football. He's battering young players around like skittles, really. So he's outgrown it, and he's ready for men's football for me. And
he's not the only one, Shaun.
No, so if you talk about our 18, there's 5 of them on there today, and we're trying to get out of maybe pigeonholing them as youth team players because they're all pushing for a start, actually. And so it does keep our boys on the toes, and it knows that you know that you've got a reliable 18. So if you imagine that we had no Leon Kearns, no Lewis Guest, no Leon Kay today, and that you could argue they're first team regulars, and they certainly have been last year, and we're still producing a good 18. And I think as time goes by, that'll be harder to maintain, but they've all bought into it so far. So it's a nice, happy camp at the moment. And it naturally happens when you're winning games and winning tight games, and there's great momentum at the minute. So hopefully we've got Tuesday coming up. Hopefully that goes ahead. And last Tuesday we didn't get to do our league game, did we? So we're just trying to keep the momentum at the moment.
Yeah, so we've got a game coming up against AFC Wolverinians on Tuesday away, all being well. But we've not played a league game yet. We've gone straight through 2 FA Cup rounds, both of them penalty shootouts. I think other managers would really go through the mill in that situation. First 2 games of the season, to go through that twice. You seem pretty serene about the whole thing between the two of you.
I think if you've seen the pair of us when the penalties are going on, it's a roller coaster. And I think we've had the big adrenaline rush, and now we're both most probably through the floor and a little bit flat. But that's just because you're mentally exhausted. And so you watch them lot run around for 90 minutes, and they're giving their all and leaving their all out there. And there's an element of you out of control when it gets to those situations. It's really in the hands of the players, and they've been great. And now the biggest challenge is making sure that almost that level of performance carries into Tuesday night, because it's quite easy to have a bit of a hangover after all the adrenaline and all the togetherness and the excitement of a game that goes to penalties. Your bread and butter, I keep saying, is your league, and hopefully with a bit of luck we're going to have a league season. It's all I don't know, it's not as concrete as what it has been in the past, is it? So Tuesday night's a good start for us, and again we'll have a tough situation now whittling that squad down to 16.
It was another good set of penalties. We did have 1 saved this time, so out of 9 penalties, to have 1 saved is pretty good going, is inevitable really, but a good set generally. You stuck with the same order pretty much. That's just a case of staying with what worked. Yeah,
the only difference was Loz, obviously. I think Loz was 3rd or 4th penalty taker against Romulus. Obviously, he went to hospital, so it was the same format with Nooney dropping in. So, yeah, fair play to them. Mental strength to take penalties. Don't change your mind. Danny Fraser had a little pep talk to everybody beforehand. Ironically, he missed his penalty, but
not the worst penalty though.
No. Paul Hathaway's a good keeper
and a good penalty taker as well.
Yeah,
he's not the first time he's taken one. I understand.
No, he used to. When I was at Coleshill, he used to take the penalties. Yeah, he used to just blast it down the middle. So that's why I was shouting to cross heel. But he didn't. He placed it in the corner. To be fair. So
we go into the next round, which is further than we've got for a few years. What are you looking for from a draw here? Are you just happy to take whatever we get at home?
Yeah, I fancy us to give a good game to anyone at home. So we'll see how it goes. I sat with the Bedworth managers yesterday in the Red Lion, and we both wished each other all the best and said we'll probably meet each other in the next round. So that would be ironic if that one comes out. I think they've won on penalties at Racing, haven't they, I think.
So what's the process now? Between now and Tuesday, you've got to get that team into the mindset for not only league football, but the start of the league season. And not a too long an away trip, but it's a quick turnaround for us from these two cup games. Will you train at any point between now and then? Will you talk to them as a group, individually?
We'll certainly talk to them. We have the group chat, don't we? So we're always liaising with each other. So, yeah, it'll be probably sort of squad out for Monday night, I guess.
Is it a combination of trying to drag them up and down at the same time?
Yeah. So it's back to the bread and butter, isn't it, of the league? So they've got to, they'll know that Wolfrunians away is never an easy game.
So we go into Wolfrunians, Shaun, and it's a place where we've had some decent results, but never an easy game. And actually, they tend to give us a bit of trouble here as well most seasons. So have you had a chance to even turn your minds to that match at all yet?
It's always in the back of your mind. I think we do look forward. We've always got the permutations of who's available and who's not, and it starts to come into more of your thinking maybe just post this game actually. So it's a fair old track over there after work on a Tuesday night. So yeah, it'll be tough to pick a 16, and that's what me and John have to take on board as managers, and we have to talk to those lads that are not involved and things like that. So when you almost give yourself, it's not as possible as maybe as before, but you try and give yourself a Sunday away from football because it can be all consuming. But I guarantee by tomorrow afternoon, we're already thinking about the squad. We'll be in touch, and ideally you want to know that everyone's confirmed by Sunday night to give yourself Monday a bit of breathing space. So yeah, so just the attention turns to Tuesday. You allow them lot to go and have a great night tonight. I'm sure they will. Some of us being a little bit older, we won't get involved in some of their antics, but it's already getting very loud next door. So you allow them to enjoy tonight, and then tomorrow we'll just get in touch with them and see how they're doing.
Then after Tuesday, we roll straight into the Vars on Saturday as well. So a team that I've never seen. I don't know if you have had any familiarity with them at all, but we go into that match and we have to get right back up for it again.
Yeah, and it'll be a real down if we go into next week and don't get a result. And I think the tables are turned next week, so we're in theory the favourites. But looking at the Worcester Raiders lineup, I think there's a lot of familiar names in there. We've come across them before when we played Worcester at Bromsgrove and things like that. So they're a club on the up by the sounds of it. They've got this fantastic ground share at Six Ways. So our true test, really, I think, of a good side is when you go into games like next week where you've got to be raised it, you've got to take it to them, because if you allow a team to come over and get stuck into get some position on the field, I think it can be a really tough game. And I think the margins between step 6, step 5, step 4 are getting closer all the time. I think if you've got a good group of lads, I think regardless of what league you're in, they're always tough games. So hopefully we go into it with a lot of confidence. Tuesday night is our main priority at the moment. And then obviously once you go past that, you start looking forward to Saturday.
Still in the FA Cup, we've got the Vars coming up. We've got the league starting. We're really throwing everything at you in terms of all the different challenges you can face as managers at the start of the season. Would you rather that was spaced out a bit more, or is it just every few days we play a football match?
Yeah, obviously times have changed, haven't they? And we've started the league a month later than normal. So it's, you just accept how it is. But me personally, I'd rather play games and train midweek. Just take it as it is, and each game as it comes along. But it's exciting, isn't it? You know, we've got FA Cup games and Vars games, and we try and stay in both competitions as long as we can.
And it's massive for a club like ours as well. The Cups, we treat them as seriously as anybody, but it already represents a decent Cup season for us to get through these two very difficult first couple of games. So in terms of the two of you making a real mark in your first full season, a decent FA Cup run is already a fantastic start.
Yeah, that's always the remit here, is to have a bit of a run in the Cup and the Vase, and so far I think we've excelled, really, in the 2 games. Look forward to the next opposition. I think you have to keep your feet on the floor because, yeah, enjoy the good times, but you know that flick of the finger, it can all change quickly and you're up against it. And we might not be having so much nicer chats as we are.
Thank you to Shaun and Big John for this week's chat. We kept it brief because it's not really fair to ask the gaffers to process a game half an hour after the final whistle just so they can explain it to the likes of me. Sphinx have got big games coming up. There's no messing about this season. Teams that are somehow able to find a good start strike me as the most likely to do well. I hope we can be one of them. That's all for this week. Shaun and I will be back in 7 days or so to catch up on the next few games. See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Coventry Sphinx podcast, a Sphinx Football production. For more of our podcasts, visit sphinxfootball.com.